Okay, welcome to today's lessons, which is you will be able to, or students will be able to, model taking Cornell notes. Okay, so the first thing I want to introduce you to is kind of that setup of how you would set up your notes, taking Cornell notes, which you will be doing in my class in your interactive chemistry notebook. So there's basically 4 sections that you divide the page into. You're going to draw a line down the side of the page and then a line at the bottom and at the top. These guys should take up no more than a couple inches. And then the summary should be drawn at the very end. But you should start with your heading, which is on top. Then you have a note section, a question section, and a summary section, okay? So your heading section is always number 1. You're going to write your name, the date, and then your objective, which today is students will be able to model taking Cornell notes. Okay? Once you have the heading done, then we're going to move into the note section. So we can see that the heading section is number 1. Now you move into the note section, and this is what you would traditionally think of as a note-taking place that you would do on a piece of paper, okay? We've just divided the paper up into a little bit more organization. However, it's still regular old note-taking, and that would take place right here in the major section of the paper, okay? So I noticed I wrote a number 2 for your notes. So when taking notes, you should remember slant, right? Sit up, lean forward, activate thinking, nod head, track talker. If you're actively listening, you should be able to understand what the teacher is saying, and you should be taking notes. So slanting, actively listening, and taking notes here, okay? I encourage you to use abbreviations. You do not have to write in complete sentences, so you can use phrases. And I also encourage you to draw pictures, especially in chemistry. Try to understand what things look like because you can't see them. Okay, next you need to listen for important points, maybe underline those or highlight those. I will tell you, this is something you need to write down. So you will know exactly like, okay, I better note this somewhere in my note section, okay? Please use symbols, maybe stars or underlines or something to indicate important ideas. You can also use symbols when you go back to review over your notes, okay? I'm going to give you time to review notes with a partner. So compare, contrast. Do your notes look the same? Does your partner have something that you didn't write down? Did you miss something important? Okay? And then for good study habits, you should be looking at your notes more than just when I give them to you. You should be looking at your notes at least 3 times so you can review your notes. The rule is 10, 24, 7. So after 10 minutes, we'll do that in class. After 24 hours, that'll kind of be like homework. And then after 7 days, that's pretty much to study for tests and quizzes. Okay? And please ask questions for clarification. If you don't understand something, ask me, okay? I cannot predict what you don't understand, okay? Okay, so once you've done taking the notes, which we will do in class, the next thing you would do maybe during maybe 10 minutes later or maybe the 24 hours later, you would write questions, okay? So on the question side here, you're coming up with, the way I like to think of it is questions that can be answered from the note side, okay? So you would be identifying main ideas, kind of what are the big things Ms. Barkey wants me to know from these notes. Next, I really think it's a good idea to create study and or test questions from the information here. What do you think I'm going to ask you on the test? Write that question here. Okay, we should be working with level 2 and 3 questions. You will have examples of these in your notebook. So you want to write higher level questions, not just what, who, why. Okay, and then please use the questions to study for your tests or quizzes. Basically, read the questions, see if you can answer them, and then review from your notes, okay? So this can turn into a great study guide. Remember, we don't have a textbook in chemistry, so you are creating your own textbook from these notes. And then the last section is the summary section. This should be done 24 hours, usually 24 hours later. Usually I'll have you do this as homework. So you should be addressing the objective of the lesson. You should be answering those level 2 and 3 questions that you wrote on the left side, and then this says paraphrase your explanation of what you learned. You should be paraphrasing, what did I learn, why is it important, how does it connect to previous information that I have learned in this class, okay? The summary section, again, should be the very last thing. You don't really need to draw the summary section in until you've taken your notes, just in case you run out of room and stuff like that. So that is some basics of Cornell note taking. You will be using this all year in Miss Barkim's class.